everybody, this is Era. I apologize for my late presentation. I've had the busiest 2 weeks that I've ever had in my job as the instructional technologist for my college, so I appreciate your understanding, and I hope that you enjoy my presentation. I think that this is a really timely topic to be discussing right now in the midst of this global epidemic that we're having. The first thing that I noticed when I looked at this article was this right here. It was published in 2010, and generally when I am looking at materials, I look at stuff that's a little bit more current. So I was curious about why we were looking at dimensions of e-learning quality from such an old article, and I decided to go ahead and look up some other information. So I found this other article that was published in 2019 out of University of North Carolina in Charlotte, and I did a little comparison. The first article by In-Sung Jung was performed in Korea for adult learners, and the other article was at UNC Charlotte here in North Carolina, where I'm located, and that was with graduate students. So they were all higher ed, but different communities. So I think that bears noticing. When you look at this, you'll notice some interesting things. In the 2011 article, the things that were highlighted as being important factors for online learning quality were interaction, staff support, institutional quality assurance mechanism, institutional credibility, learner support, information and publicity, and learning tasks. In the more recent article, some items that were highlighted were course activities, learner interaction, learning objectives, course technology, instructional materials, and clear expectations. I've highlighted the terms that seem to match between the two studies, and as you can see, a lot of them are similar. I also bolded the institutional quality assurance mechanism because this study from 2019 used the Quality Matters framework to do their research. So use of Quality Matters is an institutional quality assurance mechanism in itself. So I think that's important to note as well. And one thing that also struck me in the more recent article is that, and I quote, students may perceive the QM items differently than the intended standard to which they are assigned. And I think that is really important because faculty and students are approaching learning from two different perspectives, and to really understand learning, the faculty member has to put themselves into the position of being the student. I always say that I learned how to be a good online teacher, support person, because I've been an online student for almost the past 20 years on and off. So I know a lot about it from the student perspective and about the things that they experience and the frustrations that they can have. I have prepared some interactive online activities for the class to participate in. The first one is coming up, and I will place the links for the activities in the comments section of the YouTube video. I really like to look at Twitter about educational topics, so I decided to take this to Twitter, and I posted a hashtag that I made up, and it's got only one post so far. So I decided to pose a query to instructional design professionals about how they feel about changes that have been made in quality measures over the past 10 years. So I'm hoping that you can take a moment to go to Twitter if you're a Twitter user and check out this hashtag SUISDT7336 and post something for me, or you can just look and see. Hopefully by the time you see the presentation, some of my instructional design Twitter buddies will have posted something. So pause the video and go check out my Twitter hashtag. The next thing I'd like to do is look at some quality control sites that instructional design people can use when helping to ensure online instructional quality. So Quality Matters has gotten very popular in academia, and Quality Matters has a lot of great things available. They have a membership. There are benefits and fees. Their website shows that you can use Quality Matters, for whatever you need to do. It is a paid subscription. It's a nonprofit, but it's a paid subscription. Institutions can opt to be a Quality Matters school, and with that, any of the people who work there can use the Quality Matters resources. One interesting Quality Matters resource that actually is available for the public is this Emergency Remote Instruction Checklist. There's a video introduction that was published this past month, and then there is a checklist for higher ed and one for K-12. So I'm looking at the higher ed checklist, and it's got a whole bunch of different stuff in here. So we can scroll down and look, provide explicit directions and comparisons of online versus face-to-face. I think that matches in providing clear expectations in the articles that we looked at. Communication and interaction expectations. There's your interaction element. Tell learners what to expect and when to expect it. So that relates directly to learning objectives. And then provide instructions on how they can access their grades. Again, communication and clarity. So as you look through these, you'll see that a lot of these align with both the articles that I have pointed out in the presentation today. Next, I'd like to look at EDUCAUSE, which is a nonprofit that deals with educational technology. And there's this article here, establishing a quality review for online courses. We've got our defining quality issues, support, course development and design, teaching and learning, structure and resources, student and faculty support, evaluation and assessment, use of technology, e-learning products and services. So that looks a little bit different. It's more on the technology end, it seems to me. Finally, there are options for institutions to be EDUCAUSE members as well, but there are a lot of resources on EDUCAUSE that are available to the public. Finally, there are some organizations that are freely available to the public, such as instructionaldesign.org. This has a lot of concepts, theories, domains, models, books about instructional design. So we have so many options, and that's it gets kind of overwhelming at times. Finally, I want to bring up CAST, which works with Universal Design for Learning, and I think Universal Design for Learning is so important when we're talking about online learning, accessibility, and quality. I like CAST because the resources are very freely available. They do take donations. It's also a nonprofit, but they are a big player in the UDL guidelines and building options that help students. Next, I made a Padlet, and I'd like to know what you all think about paid versus free resources for quality e-learning. I'm a big fan of open resources, and I really like to be able to go and access something for free and share it freely in the academic world. And sometimes you can't get to those things like the Quality Matters checklist or, some things that EDUCAUSE might have because you're not a paid member institution. So I really, really want to know your opinions because I'm really on the fence. I think while monetizing these helpful resources maybe gets people to think and commit more deeply, but I'm not sure about monetizing them. I'm not sure that I really like that. So I would love to know your thoughts, and I would love for you to post on this Padlet. The way you do this is click on the plus sign at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. I'll pause now and you can go and post on the Padlet. The last thing I'd like to talk about is the technology acceptance model, which was posed in 2011 also. And this model indicates perceived usefulness and ease of use directly affect adoption. I think this is really important in the past as well as moving forward. People have to be able to use the tool and find it useful in order to adopt it. So some of the online learning tools that are now being adopted at a crazily alarming speed have not in the past been perceived as useful or easy to use. Moving forward, I think we need to continue with promoting tools that are useful and easy to use when we are working in the instructional technology field. Your final activity is to participate in a Jamboard. This is a Google product, and you can go in and add a post-it note or select something or draw something and post pictures. This is a great collaborative tool, and I wanted to invite you to come play with me. And what I want to know is, since we've talked about the past 10 years in instructional design, let's look ahead, and I would like to know what your opinions are about what will be the driving needs in our field of instructional design and technology in the next 10 years. I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to discussing this over the next week.